Right then, hello and welcome. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of something that might be the hidden reason you're not feeling 100%. We're talking about gut dysbiosis. You know those days when you just feel a bit meh? You're bloated, maybe a bit tired, just not quite yourself, and you can't figure out why. Well, there's a good chance the answer is hiding in your gut. So let's get into it. What on earth is gut dysbiosis? It sounds super scientific, doesn't it? But honestly, the idea behind it is pretty straightforward. Okay, put simply, it's all about balance. Your gut is home to trillions of tiny bacteria. Think of it like a massive team. You've got the helpful bacteria, the good guys, and then you've got the not so helpful ones. Gut dysbiosis is just what happens when that team gets out of whack, when the harmful bacteria start to outnumber the good ones. I love this way of thinking about it. Picture your gut like a garden, right? When it's healthy, it's lush, it's full of beautiful flowers and plants all working together. But gut dysbiosis, that's when the weeds start creeping in and taking over, choking out all the good stuff. Okay, so how can you tell if your own gut garden is getting a bit weedy? Well, your body's actually pretty good at sending out little warning signs. Right. The most obvious clues are usually to do with your digestion. No surprise there. We're talking about that annoying bloating, feeling gassy, or things just being unpredictable. One day it's constipation, the next it's diarrhea. If your tummy just feels off, that's a huge hint. But here's the bit that really fascinates me. It doesn't just stop at your gut. Oh no. An unhappy gut can cause problems all over your body. You might feel exhausted all the time, or get that fuzzy-headed brain fog. Maybe you've got achy joints, or your skin's breaking out with acne or eczema. It can even mess with your mood, making you feel anxious or a bit down. It's all connected. So what's causing all this chaos? What's letting those weeds run wild in the first place? Well, a massive one is what's on your plate. A diet that's heavy on processed foods, loads of sugar, and unhealthy fats, that's basically a feast for the bad bacteria. It's like you're feeding the weeds. But a plate piled high with fiber from fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, that's the good stuff that helps your friendly bacteria flourish. And it's not just about food. There's a whole bunch of other things. Things like chronic stress, and who isn't stressed these days, certain medications like antibiotics, drinking a bit too much alcohol on the regular, and even things in our environment can all throw your gut's delicate ecosystem completely out of balance. Okay, but here's the really important part. This isn't a life sentence. The good news is you can absolutely do things to get that balance back. It's all about giving your gut garden a bit of TLC. So let's break it down into a simple 4-step plan. First step, your diet. We're talking more fiber-rich foods and maybe some fermented stuff. Second, some lifestyle tweaks. Managing stress, getting enough sleep. Third, you could look into some clever supplements. And fourth, and this one is crucial, if you're still struggling, please talk to a healthcare professional. Now, I mentioned supplements, and you've probably heard of probiotics and prebiotics, right? But what's the difference? Well, let's go back to our garden. Probiotics are like planting new, beautiful flowers. They're the actual live, good bacteria. Prebiotics, they're the fertilizer. They're the food that helps all the good bacteria you already have to grow big and strong. Now, for some people, if the dysbiosis is really persistent or severe, those lifestyle changes might not be quite enough. And that's when you might need to look at medical treatments. Things like special antibiotics, or even something called a fecal microbiota transplant, or FMT. And it's super important to be clear about this. FMT is a serious medical procedure. Here in the UK, it's very tightly regulated, and you can generally only get it on the NHS for certain specific infections. It is absolutely not something to try on your own. You have to discuss this with your doctor. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. What's the path forward? The main thing I want you to take away is that small steps can make a massive difference. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. So, to recap, gut dysbiosis is simply an imbalance in your gut bacteria. Its symptoms can pop up all over your body, not just your stomach. The main causes are things like diet and stress, but, and this is the best bit, you can help restore that balance with simple changes. And, I'm going to say it again, always see a professional if you're worried about symptoms that just won't go away. So I'll leave you with this question. What's one tiny thing you could do for your gut today? Seriously, just one. Could you add some extra veg to your tea tonight? Or maybe just take 5 minutes to sit quietly and breathe. Whatever it is, remember,
Every little bit really does help.